Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and today we're going to take a look at the G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, the O-ring version, the Ram Cycle is what we normally call it. And yes, this is the vintage review going back in time. We're going to take a look at this, and I can tell you right away, this is, well, technically, this is my first Ram Cycle that I ever had, because I actually didn't have this as a kid. And I have no idea why. I don't know why I would not have asked for this. It's awesome. It has a big, giant Gatling gun on it. It's a motorcycle, but I'm not sure why. I just must have never asked for it, because I can't imagine my mom and dad not buying me something as small as this when I was getting the Hal and the Vamp and the Mobat, and I can go on and on. But I think most of you know if you've been following the channel. So anyway, we're going to take a look at this guy. I've already compared them to the classified, so you can go back and take a look at that if you want to see how close it was. But I'm going to take a look at this, focus on it, and of course we do have Breaker, so we can see how the figure fits on here, because as we know, Breaker was the one that was the most iconic riding this from the artwork. So anyway, let's get into this, take a look at all the detail that they did with this, because let's be honest, so much detail, and this will be one of the easier vehicles to do because, well, it's pretty small. But if you like this type of video, if you like going back in time, reliving your childhood, just taking yourself out of your daily grind, take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, then hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop some sort of a vintage review or classic review. All right, so here we have it, and like I said, I didn't have this, so I really got to take a look at it and really get into it when I reviewed it against the classified version. So we'll take a look at the minigun first. Unfortunately, this normally does come off. Mine fell and it broke. I don't even remember what broke, but I know I had to glue this piece together. So you have this, it's not even really a minigun, it's more like a full-size Gatling gun. No ports for blast effects, they weren't doing stuff like that, but you can see it is at least molded in there. This doesn't spin, and there is no color on this. It's just the color of the plastic that is molded into. Now, in this day and age, in 2025, this really wouldn't go over well, but in 1982, 83, this was perfectly acceptable. But they put all this little detail into it. I'm not really sure what all this is supposed to be, but it does make it look like it is something actually working. And then the Gatling gun is made to look the way the barrels are. Again, you just have that mini barrel. The top one is the one that actually fires. I always thought it was the middle one, or I thought they all fired at once. Again, kids. They put in the little rivet detail. Here's a sticker, USA. And then you just have these little clamps that almost make it look like it's supposed to be holding stuff on. And all that goes extremely far in my personal opinion. All right. Here we have a couple saddlebag. Well, this is a saddlebag. Saddle pack is actually what it says. These are removable. Now, I'm not really sure what you would do with them. But I guess if you were doing dioramas back in the day, if you had that foresight, you'd be able to kind of set those on the ground and, you know, work your figures around it like they pulled the bags off there. I'll pop these on really quickly. All right. You have the seat, which is a different molded plastic, and it does have little rivets in it that make it look like it is seated. And then they give you a nice sticker, so you have a cluster gauge there. And again, for back in 1982, I think that actually looks pretty good. All inside here, you have some engine detail. Again, no paint, but you're going to use your imagination. You got a little toolbox right there. At least I believe that's a toolbox. You got the peg so you can put your feet on it. And this would be for the passenger, which it just seems kind of weird how that would actually set. But I love the detail in the engine. It really does look like it is a real engine right in there. Number 36. You have what is supposed to be shocks right there, all running all the way down, and then you have the your wheel guard, so hopefully your leg doesn't get up, mud doesn't spit up at you. You got your 6-spoke wheel here, and then you have your tire. And as you can see, it does have a little bit of texture to it, so it actually looks real. This one here, not so much. Now, this is plastic, so if we tap on it, it does make some noise. It seems to be a little bit softer of a plastic, but these weren't any type of rubber wheels. All right, and on this side, again, we have the saddlebag, or saddle pack as it says. And the engine obviously carries over. Now, this is a big complaint with this one right over here. I'll just say that it just didn't look as good. And I can agree 100%. I really didn't want to bring classified into it, so I probably shouldn't have. But this was one of the things that I think looked better on this compared to the classified one. And again, just all this little bit of detail. Here is your med kit, which is nice. It looks like maybe this is the gas tank here. And again, you have the texture here. They do give you a kickstand, which obviously you don't need when it has the, it doesn't stay up either anymore. I do believe at one time it stayed up, but you don't need it when you have the sidecar, the minigun on it. But if you don't have it, this thing does pop up and it stays, so you don't have to worry about it falling over. They give you the nice tail light right there. So they're leading into realistic stuff even here. Now the exhaust, even as a kid playing with my friends, it all seemed kind of funny because it's just one pipe that's supposed to go together through the tire. So I feel like that would probably eventually melt the tire. But again, we're kids and we play with the toys and we use our imagination for the most part. Here we have a nice little light right there. And you have these aerodynamics, so this is how they were going to be seated. Their hands go inside there, and again, all the texture. Now, there is no bar here. So you're just going to kind of slide the hand in there. Now, this was probably a better idea, considering the original figures were straight arm. And we're going to see how that fits. I also have a dial tone next to me if I need to make that work. As for the steering, well, it really didn't have steering. And that may bum a lot of people out. Oh, I guess that, you know what, take that back. It does have steering. I told you I didn't really play with this thing. I never noticed that it actually has steering, so there you go. I had the Mirage, which is odd that I had the Mirage and not this. I no longer have a Mirage. But anyway, there you have the steering, so it actually does turn. You don't have to worry about anything up there. Now we're going to take Breaker, and we're going to do our best to see if we can get him in a seated pose. And all you're going to do with these figures here, again, all you had to do was for him, you're just going to slide his hand right in there. You didn't have to worry about breaking any thumbs. He also can't look up. But see, you couldn't do anything like this on a Star Wars speeder bike, because they just had straight arm, or straight legs, straight arms, right? So with this guy here, you're able to just kind of put him up like that. All right? And he fits perfectly fine. You can't really see the hands. So when you're playing around, his hands being bent up like that, they're supposed to do the best job to hold them on. Now, I also feel like maybe the seat is just a little too big, but I'm not going to complain. Again, these were toys, and our imagination ran wild with us. So, Hulkamania was running wild. Our imagination was running wild. Matter of fact, Hulkamania I don't believe had happened yet. So, maybe Hulkamania got his Hulkamania running wild from our imagination running wild. But there it is. That is your Ram Cycle with the Breaker. So it kind of looks as close to the cover artwork as can be. And there you go. That is the classic review of the G.I. Joe Real American Hero Ram. I love to hear if you guys have any stories, your thoughts of this, maybe when you got it. Again, I don't have any. I could spend all day trying to think of some, and I never have any because I didn't have it. My friend Jeff Faber, he had it, and I remember playing around with his, but it was one of those things where I think this was one of those things that he kept, so I didn't really get to play with it too much. Like I said, I did have the Silver Mirage, so I think by the time that came out, this was no longer available. Or maybe every time I went, it was like, well, I can either get a couple figures and this, or an extra figure, or a bigger vehicle. I don't even remember. So, but there you go. This is one of those things where I was happy when I finally got it in my collection. It fits on pretty much any military-looking figure, or Lady J, who is I've had riding this for quite some time. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And again, I'd like to hear your stories. I'd like to hear what the memories that you might have from something like this, because that's what we have, man. And it's what makes us continue to collect toys. Like, why am I buying all these G.I. Joe classified figures? Somewhere it resonates to what I had back then and where I was as a child and how happy it made me. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. But if you like this type of stuff, you like this video, please take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop this. Now, what I'm going to do, you stayed this long watching this, hearing what I have to say. Up here, I'm going to drop the breaker so you can see the guy that's supposed to be riding this. And down here will be a playlist of all the classic videos that I've done. Take care.